The rain wouldn't stop. It poured from the sky like it had something to prove, slapping the ground in heavy drops that soaked everything in minutes. The clouds were thick and gray, hiding the sun and turning the world cold and colorless. People rushed by with umbrellas, heads down, coats pulled tight, trying not to get wet. But she didn't have anywhere to rush to. She walked slowly, her thin hoodie already drenched, shoes squishing with each step. Her name was Maya, and she was just 10 years old. Her backpack felt heavier than usual, not because of books, but because of everything she couldn't say out loud. She missed her mom, who worked long hours and hardly smiled anymore. At school, the other kids didn't invite her to play, and sometimes she felt like a ghost. Quiet, invisible, floating through the halls. She didn't plan to stop at the park, but something pulled her there. Maybe it was the way the trees bent under the rain, or the way the wind whispered like it had secrets to tell. The park was empty, just wet benches and muddy puddles. She sat down on the cold metal bench, not caring that her pants got soaked. It felt like the whole world was crying with her. That's when she heard it, a sound so soft she almost thought she imagined it. A tiny whimper. Her heart skipped. She looked around but saw nothing. Then she heard it again. A little cry, like someone was hurt or scared. It was coming from under the bench. Maya slid off the bench and crouched low. That's when she saw it. A dog. Small, skinny, and shaking like a leaf in the wind. Its fur was wet and stuck to its body, brown with streaks of black, but hard to tell through all the mud. Its eyes were wide and afraid. The dog didn't bark or growl, it just looked at her, frozen in place. For a moment, Maya didn't move. The dog didn't either. Time felt like it slowed down. Something deep inside her stirred, like her heart had just remembered how to beat a little louder. She could walk away. That would be easier. She had no leash, no food, no clue what to do. But she couldn't make her legs move. That look in the dog's eyes, it felt like looking in a mirror. She reached out her hand slowly. "Hey," she whispered. "It's okay. I won't hurt you." The dog didn't come closer, but it didn't run either. That felt like a tiny miracle. Maya sat there in the rain, arm outstretched, not sure how much time passed. Maybe minutes, maybe more. Her fingers trembled from the cold, but she kept them steady. Finally, the dog moved. Just a paw at first, then another. It crept forward, inch by inch, until its nose touched her fingers. Maya held her breath. The dog sniffed her hand, then gave it a single lick. A soft, warm touch in the middle of a storm. "Good dog," she said, her voice cracking a little. "You're not alone." She looked around, half expecting someone to come yelling, "That's my dog." But no one did. The park stayed empty, the rain still falling. The dog didn't have a collar, just matted fur and eyes that looked like they'd seen too much. Maya stood up slowly. "Come on," she said. "Let's get out of the rain." To her surprise, the dog followed. Not close, not eagerly, but it followed. Through the wet streets, past rushing cars and blinking traffic lights, the two of them made their way home. Maya's tiny apartment was up a narrow staircase, behind a heavy blue door that always stuck when it rained. She pushed it open and let the dog inside. Her mom wasn't home yet, probably still working at the diner. Maya grabbed an old towel and knelt beside the dog. "You're a mess," she said gently. The dog didn't flinch as she rubbed it dry. It sat still, letting her clean the mud from its fur, revealing a soft coat underneath, lighter than she expected, almost golden in some spots. She found a few scrapes, nothing too bad, and one ear that folded down funny, like it had been bent the wrong way too many times. She poured a bowl of cereal for herself and found some leftover chicken in the fridge for the dog. It ate like it hadn't had a real meal in days. Maya smiled for the first time that day. When her mom got home, wet and tired, her eyes widened at the sight of the dog. "Maya," she said, dropping her purse. Where did this come from?" Maya told her the whole story. The park, the rain, the look in the dog's eyes. Her mom listened, rubbing her forehead like she didn't know what to say. "We can't keep a dog, sweetheart. You know that." "I know," Maya whispered. "But just for one night. Please." Her mom sighed. "One night." That night, Maya gave the dog a blanket and let it sleep beside her bed. But the dog didn't stay there. Sometime in the middle of the night, it crept closer, curled up right against her side. Maya didn't mind. She felt warm for the first time in days. The next morning, the rain was gone and the sky looked brighter than it had in a while. Maya and the dog sat by the window watching the light dance on the wet pavement. She hadn't named it yet. It didn't feel right to name something you didn't know if you could keep. But in her heart, she already called it Lucky. At school, she thought about Lucky all day. She rushed home, afraid he might be gone, but he was there, tail wagging, eyes waiting at the door. And just like that, one night turned into another. And another. Her mom said they had to check for a microchip to see if the dog belonged to someone. So they did. But there wasn't one. They asked around, called shelters. No one was missing a small, bent-eared dog. So Maya and her mom made a decision. Lucky could stay. Maya had never felt more alive. Every day after school, she'd race home, open the door, and Lucky would be there to greet her. He'd jump, wag his tail, sometimes even yelp with joy. They went on long walks. Played with sticks. Sometimes just sat in silence, watching the world. But Lucky didn't bark much. And he hated loud noises. Maya noticed how he'd flinch at shouting or thunder. She wondered what kind of place he had come from. Sometimes he had bad dreams, little whimpers in his sleep that made Maya reach out and stroke his back until he settled down. She never asked what those dreams were about. She just let him know he wasn't alone anymore. And slowly, without meaning to, Maya started to change too. She smiled more. She talked more. Kids at school began to notice. Some even asked about her dog. She told them all about Lucky, the brave little dog she found under a bench on a rainy day. But what Maya didn't know was that Lucky hadn't just come to be rescued. He had come to save her, too. And very soon, she would need him more than ever. Lucky followed Maya everywhere. If she moved, he moved. If she sat, he curled at her feet. If she sighed, he tilted his head and gave her that look that always made her smile, even on the hardest days. It was like Lucky could feel her moods, like he had a secret map of her heart that no one else could see. And slowly, the quiet girl who used to hide behind her hoodie began to walk taller. She laughed more. Her footsteps grew lighter. Every day, Lucky waited by the door at exactly the same time, ready for her to come home from school. And every day, Maya would throw her arms around his furry neck, burying her face in his warm coat. That hug always melted the weight of the day away like magic. But Lucky wasn't like other dogs. He didn't bark when the doorbell rang. He didn't chase balls or chew on toys. He stayed close, always watching, always listening. At first, Maya thought it was just his personality, calm, gentle, careful. But the more she watched him, the more she realized something had made him that way. One day, while brushing his fur, she found an old scar under his belly. Another near his tail. And when a loud truck passed outside, Lucky jumped and ran to the closet, hiding in the corner, trembling. Maya didn't say anything. She just sat beside him and waited. After a while, he poked his head out and licked her hand. "I don't know what happened to you," she whispered, "but I'm really glad you're here." That night, she asked her mom if dogs could remember the past. Her mom paused while stirring the soup. "I think they can," she said. "Not like us, not with words. But they remember feelings. Places. Voices. The good ones and the bad." Maya looked over at Lucky, who was curled up in his blanket, eyes half closed but ears alert. Then maybe he's scared someone will hurt him again. Her mom put down the spoon and looked at her. "Then we'll show him that no one ever will." Over the next few weeks, Lucky began to change. He started wagging his tail more, especially when Maya sang. He'd chase her shadow on sunny afternoons. He even let her dress him in a silly little sweater one cold morning, though he gave her a long, suffering look before trotting out the door like he owned the street. Maya loved him more than anything in the world. One afternoon, while walking Lucky past the grocery store, something unexpected happened. A man stepped out of a black car and stopped. He stared at Lucky. And Lucky froze. Maya felt the leash go tight. Lucky didn't growl. He didn't bark. He just stood completely still, tail down, eyes wide. The man squinted and took a step closer. "Hey," he said, "that dog, where did you get him?" Maya took a step back. "He was lost. I found him in the park." The man frowned. "I used to have a dog just like that. Looked the same. Had a funny ear too." Maya's heart began to race. "Lucky doesn't belong to anyone. We checked. No chip." The man's eyes narrowed. "Maybe someone ripped it out." Maya pulled Lucky closer. "We're going now." She didn't look back. She didn't have to. She could feel Lucky shaking through the leash. Back at home, she told her mom what happened. Her mom's face tightened. "Next time you see him, stay away. Cross the street. If he follows you, go inside a shop and call me." Maya nodded. She held Lucky tight that night, and Lucky didn't leave her side, even once. After that, Lucky was different. He stopped sleeping through the night. He watched the windows more. Sometimes he paced. Maya hated seeing him like that. She missed his little dances and his silly sneezes when he sniffed flowers. But she knew what it meant. That man had scared him. Maybe reminded him of something. Something bad. But even through the fear, Lucky still protected her. One day, as they walked near the park, a big dog ran out from behind a bush, barking loud and mean. Maya screamed. The dog had no leash. His teeth were bared. But before Maya could move, Lucky jumped in front of her, barking for the first time since she'd met him. It wasn't a loud bark. It wasn't angry, but it was enough. The big dog stopped. For a moment, the two stared at each other. Then, just as quickly, the dog backed off and ran the other way. Maya hugged Lucky so tight she thought her heart might burst. "You're so brave," she whispered. So brave." She bought him a red collar that day with his name in shiny letters, Lucky. But trouble wasn't done with him yet. One evening, Maya came home from school to find the front door cracked open. She froze. Lucky wasn't at the door. The apartment was too quiet. "Lucky?" she called. No answer. She dropped her bag and ran inside. The living room was a mess. Couch cushions on the floor. A broken lamp. Her mom's purse wide open. And Lucky nowhere. Maya's heart beat so fast it hurt. She ran to her room. Empty. Kitchen. Empty. Then she heard it. A low, growling noise. Coming from the hallway. She turned slowly. Lucky stood there, his body stiff, teeth bared. Behind him stood the man from the store. "What are you doing in our house?" Maya shouted. The man didn't answer. He had something in his hand. A rope. "Give me the dog," he said. "No." Lucky growled louder, stepping in front of Maya. The man lunged forward, and in a flash, Lucky leapt. There was barking, yelling, a loud crash. Maya screamed. The man tripped, hit the table, and fell to the ground. Lucky stood on his chest, growling, ready to strike again. A neighbor burst through the door, phone in hand. "I called the police," she yelled. The man scrambled up and ran out the back door. Lucky chased him to the stairs but stopped, barking only once. The neighbor ran to Maya and hugged her. Maya was shaking, holding on to Lucky like he was a life raft in a stormy sea. The police came. They found the man a few blocks away. He'd been stealing dogs, abusing them, selling them. They said Lucky was lucky to have gotten away the first time. Maya was lucky too. Very lucky. That night, Maya curled up with Lucky in bed. Her mom had tears in her eyes as she tucked them both in. "He saved you," her mom said softly. Maya nodded. "He saved both of us." She looked at Lucky, who was already asleep, his breathing slow and safe. Maya whispered, "I thought I was rescuing you, but you were really rescuing me." After the night Lucky saved her, Maya never saw the world the same way again. She used to feel invisible, like she was just a quiet shadow moving through the days. But Lucky had changed that. He had shown her how brave she could be, how strong love could grow from a place of pain. He didn't just protect her. He made her feel seen, really seen. In the weeks that followed, Lucky became a small hero in the neighborhood. People came by to pet him, to give him treats, to thank him for what he'd done. Even the police officer who came that night returned once with a chew toy and said, "Not all heroes wear badges. Some wear fur." Maya giggled when he said that, and Lucky barked just once, like he was proud too. But even heroes need rest. Lucky had been through so much, and sometimes the shadows in his eyes came back. He'd stare out the window for a long time, not moving. He still flinched at sudden noises, and when people raised their voices, even if they weren't angry. He'd back into a corner and wait. Maya noticed. She always noticed. So she began making small changes to help him heal. She played soft music in the evenings. She whispered instead of calling. She gave him his own quiet corner with soft blankets and a warm night light. She even drew a little sign that read Lucky's safe place and taped it above his bed. One evening, as she brushed his fur, she said, "You're safe now. You're loved. Forever." Lucky closed his eyes and sighed like he understood. Spring came, and with it, sunshine and blooming flowers. Maya and Lucky spent their weekends walking through the park again, only now Maya walked proudly. She smiled at people. She spoke up in class. Her teachers noticed. Her mom noticed too. "You're different," her mom said one morning, watching Maya pack her bag. Maya nodded. "It's Lucky. He gave me someone to care for. And someone who cares about me." The bond between them was so strong, they didn't even need words. When Maya was sad, Lucky knew. When he was scared, she did too. They were like two puzzle pieces that finally found each other. Then one cloudy afternoon, everything changed again. Maya was walking home with Lucky when she saw a small crowd near the school fence. People were gathered around something, whispering. Maya moved closer. A dog. A tiny shivering puppy. Its fur was matted, its ribs showing. It was so thin it looked like it hadn't eaten in days. The puppy looked up at Maya with wide, scared eyes, and that's when Lucky stepped forward. He didn't bark. He didn't growl. He walked over slowly and sat beside the puppy, curling his tail around it. The puppy stopped shaking. Maya's heart swelled. She knew what she had to do. Come on, she whispered, lifting the puppy gently. You're coming with us. That evening, they gave the puppy a warm bath and a small bowl of rice and boiled chicken. Lucky stayed close the whole time, never taking his eyes off the little one. They named her Pebble because she was small but strong. At first, Maya wasn't sure how Lucky would feel about sharing his home. But Lucky surprised her. He became like a big brother to Pebble, showing her where the food was, teaching her to bark properly, even letting her steal his toys, well, most of them. And Maya realized something important. Lucky had healed enough to help someone else now. Just like she had. One night, Maya sat between Lucky and Pebble, a hand on each of their soft heads. She whispered, "We're a family now." Then, one weekend, Maya and her mom took Lucky and Pebble to a local animal shelter. Not to leave them, but to help. They signed up to volunteer. Maya brushed fur. Her mom filled food bowls. Lucky walked calmly past the other cages, sometimes sitting by the frightened ones, just watching with gentle eyes. One little girl at the shelter was afraid of dogs. Her parents were thinking about adopting, but she cried every time they got close. Until she met Lucky. He didn't rush toward her. He didn't bark. He just lay down quietly a few feet away, his head on his paws. The little girl took one step, then another. Soon, she was sitting beside him, giggling as he licked her hand. Her parents had tears in their eyes. They adopted a dog that day, not Lucky, of course, but another sweet pup that had been waiting for months. Lucky had helped again, just by being himself. As they walked home that day, Maya felt something warm in her chest. It was hope. It was healing. It was the quiet joy of knowing her pain had turned into something beautiful. When school asked Maya to give a speech at the end-of-year assembly, she panicked at first. She had never stood in front of so many people. But then she looked at Lucky sitting beside her in his red collar. She wrote her speech that night. The big day came. The gym was full. Her voice trembled at first, but then she looked out and saw her mom, holding Pebble. And Lucky sitting in the front row wagging his tail. She began. I used to feel invisible. Like no one saw me. Like I didn't matter. But then on a rainy day, I found a dog in the park. Or maybe he found me. He was cold, wet, and afraid. Just like I was inside. I brought him home. I named him Lucky. But I didn't know then how lucky I really was. She paused. The room was silent. He saved me. Not just once. Not just by protecting me. But every day. By being there. By loving me when I didn't love myself yet. And now we help other dogs who feel scared and alone, just like Lucky once did. I used to think I rescued him. But really he rescued me. People clapped. Some wiped their eyes. Lucky barked once, proud and loud. After that, more kids started helping at the shelter. More families adopted pets. Maya even started a little club called the Lucky Hearts, where kids could share stories about their pets and how they helped them through tough times. One quiet evening, Maya sat on the porch watching the sunset. Lucky lay beside her, Pebble curled on his back. The sky was full of pink and gold. She thought about all the things she used to fear. The loneliness. The silence. The feeling of not being enough. But now she had love. She had courage. She had Lucky. She whispered, "You didn't just save my life. You changed it." Lucky nuzzled her hand and closed his eyes. And Maya knew, deep in her heart, that the best rescues are the ones that rescue you back.